the Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, our dear brother, His Excellency Kashim Shettima, GCON, the former President, His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan, GCFR, the former Head of State, His Excellency Abdusalami Abubakar, GCFR, the Deputy Senate President, His Excellency Barrow Jibrin, my dear brother, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, the Deputy Speaker of the People's House, the principal officers of the National Assembly here present, distinguished senators and members of the National Assembly, Honorable Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, His Excellency Atiku Bagudu, the Honorable Minister of State, Agric, Senator Aliyu Sahabi, the Honorable Minister of Police Affairs, His Excellency Distinguished Senator Ibrahim Gaidam, the Honorable Minister of State, Steel Development, my dear brother, Honorable Maigari Amadou, Major General Mala, representing the National Security Advisor, Major General A.A. Ariabi, representing the Chief of Defense Staff, AIG Ben Okolo, representing the Inspector General of Police, DCG Zakari Ibrahim Ningi, representing the Commandant of the Nigerian Civil Defense, our royal fathers of the day, His Royal Majesty Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar III, Sultan of Sokoto, His Royal Highness Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi, the Oni of Ife, His Royal Highness Nnameka Alfred Ogochun Achebe, CFR, the Oni of Onitsha, the Obi of Onitsha, spelling from those who wrote it for me here, so sorry. His Royal Highness, my own Emir, Ambassador Amenu Bamali, Emir of Zaria, Emir of Zazzau, His Eminence, John Cardinal Onaikom, the Metropolitan Archbishop of Abuja, the British High Commissioner, ably represented here, the German Ambassador, Her Excellency Annette Gunther, other members of the Diplomatic Corps, the CNA, and the Clerk of the House of Representatives, our development partners, the lead, panel discussants, and facilitators of today's events, distinguished invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted and honored to welcome you all to this important national discourse on the plausibility of state police. I thank our distinguished guests for accepting the invitation to participate in this important national dialogue. I sincerely thank His Excellency, President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, represented here by His Excellency the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. Your presence, here signifies the importance attached by this government to national security. I'm equally thankful to His Excellency Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and His Excellency General Abdusalami Abubakar for lending their voices to this very important national discourse. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Your unique positions as former heads of state and president meant that you bring enormous experience to the issue being discussed here today. Your insights will no doubt greatly enhance the quality of today's dialogue. I thank the security chiefs, members of the diplomatic corps, and all other government officials for accepting our invitation despite tight schedules. The President's commitment to overhauling and transforming the Nigerian police force into a modern, professional, and accountable institution is evident and commendable. Earlier this year, the President and state governors opened up the conversation on the possibility of setting up state policy. As noted by the national and international commentators, this marks a seismic shift in approach by the government. As you may recall, the President has set up a Constitutional Review Committee in 2023, comprising the National Security Advisor, Chairman of the Police Service Commission, and the Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, to make recommendations towards complete police reforms, particularly because no extensive and systematic reforms have taken place in the Nigerian police force since its creation in 1861. Recent attempts, including the Police Repeal and Reenactment Act of 2020 and the Police Trust Fund Act of 2019, were significant first steps, but not nearly as far-reaching as necessary. Therefore, this forum is the House's effort to support the vision of the President and further the discussion on police reforms and multi-level policing in the country. This is in line with the constitutional mandate of the National Assembly to make laws for the order, peace, and good governance of the country, as contained in the 1999 constitutions. It is also in line with our legislative agenda priorities to undertake judicial reform, promote rule of law and human rights, streamline and improve the constitutional reform processes, and improve national security in general. As legislators, we are tasked with crafting laws that address our people's immediate needs and anticipate and mitigate future challenges. Our role in security lawmaking is to ensure that any initiative, such as establishing state policing, adheres to our Constitution and aligns with the broader goals of national security and our public welfare. Furthermore, legislative oversight is essential to ensure that these laws are implemented effectively and continue to serve the best interests of the Nigerian people. Through our committees and investigative processes, the National Assembly has a duty to monitor, review, and refine operations of security agencies to prevent any abuses of power and safeguard citizens' rights and freedoms. The House of Representatives is aware of the divisive and polarizing arguments surrounding the issue under review. Let me state categorically that the House, and indeed the National Assembly, does not have a fixed position on this matter. Our role is to facilitate a dialogue and generate consensus. In discussions as significant as this, it is imperative that we approach each debate with objectivity and neutrality. We must acknowledge our biases and set them aside in favor of what is most beneficial to our dear country. Our discussions should be marked not by the pursuit of personal or political gains, but by a steadfast commitment to the common good of the people. The National Assembly, as the largest representative and deliberative body in Nigeria, is uniquely positioned to facilitate this dialogue with a spirit of openness and sincerity. We are the bridge between government and the governed, between different political ideologies, and between the present needs and future aspirations of our dear country. Creating state policing system requires more than just legislative action. It requires a national consensus. As diverse and complex as our great country is, so too are the opinions and perspectives on how best to manage and implement local policy. It is only through open, inclusive, and respectful dialogue, like the one we are part of today, that we can build the necessary consensus needed. It is crucial that every voice is heard, from the northern reaches of our Sahel to the coastal hubs in the south. Each region and geopolitical zone has its unique challenges and insights. By embracing these differences and working through them together, we can forge policies that are robust, equitable, and tailored to the specific needs of our communities. Dear Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our mission here is simple: to deliberate the future of policing in Nigeria, reflecting on our historical context and aligning our actions with the demands of our diverse and dynamic populace, and daunting contemporary security challenges that have stretched our existing system to a breaking point. The concept of state police involves decentralizing law enforcement functions to the state level, thereby allowing for more localized and responsive policing tailored to the unique needs of each state. However, Section 214 of the 1999 Constitution establishes the Nigerian police force as unitary police for the Federation or any part thereof. However, as noted earlier, evolving security challenges and other institutional and structural changes have severely affected the general effectiveness of the police. As you are mostly aware, this deficit has resulted in the military engaging in policing functions in all states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory. In turn, this has also overstretched the armed forces and affected their effectiveness in combating other broader security challenges, including those that threaten the territorial integrity of our dear country. In view of the above, many have argued that a decentralized and community-based approach to policing has become imperative to empower states to address the complex security challenges in the context of their local environment and peculiarities. Some see the current centralized structure of the police as a negation of true federalism. Several countries structured as federations have well-established states, provisional or regional police that exercise authority over relevant subnational jurisdictions and collaborate on law enforcement matters with national or federal police, where both exist. Some of the federal countries with functional decentralized policing systems include Brazil, the United States of America, Argentina, Canada, Spain, Germany, India, among others. Other decentralized policing countries include Pakistan, Botswana, the United Kingdom, and Mexico. On this note, I would like to thank the ambassadors of these respective countries to Nigeria for accepting to share their experiences with us at this particular forum. Thank you so much for coming. As we delve into the substance of today's dialogue, please permit me to highlight a few issues that I think are critical to the overall conversation on the merits and the merit of state policing and its desirability or otherwise for Nigeria. First and foremost, it is imperative to acknowledge that the push for reforming our police forces is not merely desirable but necessary. We are at a stage where public trust in law enforcement is teetering. Also, the burden of policing the vast geographical expanse of our country, and a rapidly expanding population warrants a reform of the current structure. The need for a system that maintains law and order and upholds every Nigerian's dignity and rights cannot be overstated. Reform is essential to heal and to build, rebuilding trust, rebuilding effectiveness, and rebuilding our shared commitments to justice. Secondly, whereas most Nigerians agree on the need to reform policing, that is usually where the consensus ends. There is no any agreement on how best to proceed with the reform or the best policing model for Nigeria. In considering the path forward, we must recognize that no one-size-fits-all solution exists. The vast diversity of Nigeria, with over 300 ethnic groups and a range of geographic, economic, and social conditions, requires a policy model that is adaptable and sensitive to local contexts. As we explore the models of state policing that have been successful in other nations, we must be judicious in adapting these frameworks to fit our unique Nigerian situation. Furthermore, Your Excellency, it is important to remind ourselves that decentralized policing is not alien to Nigeria. Historically, during both the colonial and immediate post-colonial periods, Nigeria operated under a system where local police forces played significant roles in maintaining public order, specific to their regions. Policing in colonial times was purely decentralized, as evident by the Lagos Police Force, Hausa Constabulary, and Niger Coast Constabulary. The structure was maintained even after the merger of the Northern and Southern Protectorates with the creation of the Northern Nigerian Police and the Southern Nigerian Police Force. In fact, under the First Republic, these forces were first regionalized before their subsequent nationalization. However, subsequent civilian and military governments adopted a rigidly centralized pattern for the Nigerian police force. As such, you should take cognizance of the fact that decentralized policing is not an entirely new proposition. The historical precedents support the notion that a decentralized approach can be beneficial and effective if properly managed. However, we must proceed with caution. There is a palpable fear among citizens, a fear of potential tyranny and the misuse of police powers if control is devolved to the state level. These concerns are not unfounded and must be addressed promptly without bias or sentiments. This emphasizes the need for robust frameworks that ensure accountability, transparency, and equitable service delivery across all states. Equally important are setting stringent national standards, establishing oversight bodies, and involving communities in the policing processes. Your Excellency, distinguished stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, I consider the above insights and background germane to guide us in this crucial dialogue on the nation's security challenge and police reform. As earlier noted, the House of Representatives, and by extension, the National Assembly, will facilitate consensus building towards strengthening security and policing structures to protect lives and properties better. Whatever model Nigeria adopts, our focus must always be on developing a police system that is efficient, responsible, responsive, and subject to global best practices in its management and operation. In conclusion, I task you to debate freely on the pros and the cons of state policing. As we engage, issues to consider may include, but not limited to, the following: the desirability or otherwise of state policing, the time frame for a transition if deemed desirable, suitable model or models for Nigeria that account for context and diversity, appropriate legal and institutional frameworks, essential safeguards against abuse, continuous review and oversight mechanisms, financial arrangements between the different levels of governments, modality for recruitment, management operation, and relationship between state police and the federal police, among others. Once again, Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for answering our call and being part of this important conversation. I wish to especially recognize our partners, specifically the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, PLAC, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, and the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, FCDO, for providing support for this dialogue. Also, our deepest appreciations to the government of Germany for supporting the program and sponsoring a security expert to come all the way from Germany to participate in this very important discussion. Given the array of expertise, knowledge, and experience gathered here today, I sincerely hope that this dialogue will deliver outcomes that will further enrich and enhance our legislative work and interventions necessary for the peace, security, and development of our dear country. We look forward to a robust national exchange of ideas and your recommendations for necessary legislative action. The outcome of today's discussion will contribute in creating the best option available for Nigeria. Thank you for your attention. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you so much.
There you have it, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and